Aikwe Nakmanamalita, and this is my channel, The Midnight Librarian, and today I will be talking about my January-February book haul. I was trying to do this different, try to keep myself more accountable in terms of how much I'm spending on books. And was trying to do this whole like almost like a reward system, but it was getting too complicated. I had this like whole thing like set out, and I even got like a little Pokemon ball stamp to like congratulate myself anytime I do end up reading like the books that I say I'm going to read from my TBRs, particularly if I own them. It was just getting too much. Ultimately, I enjoy buying books, but I did do pretty good in January in terms of how many books I actually bought. I'm just trying to make myself slow down a little bit. And when it comes to buying books, I don't need things right away, mostly because as you can see, I don't have enough room for all of them. I don't have, like I said, I don't have enough room for all of them, but it's not like, even though I did buy some, it's not nearly as bad as it was like in 2022 or beyond. So, and I am excited for these, and I am hoping to get to them. And they are stuff that I am passionate about. I could have very well easily bought more. There's worse things that I could be spending my money on. Yes, I do just want to get it under control a little bit. So, I will go over some of the things I bought in January and February. In February in particular, we ended up going up to Oregon for a vacation, and I had to go to a bookstore. So, and it could have been much worse. It could have been so much worse. So I basically, anytime I go to a bookstore, 3 is my limit. And when I have gone to my bookstore here locally, I am limiting myself to 1. So the fact that I went to a bookstore that wasn't here local, it was up in Oregon, I limited myself to 3, took pictures of a whole lot more than I wanted. And the original plan was to go to Powell's Books, and that could, like I said, could have been so much worse. So I'm pretty happy with the turnout. I'm not going to do this whole complicated thing of a reward system. That just seems silly to me. And ultimately, there are moments where book shopping is a therapy for me. So I'm just going to limit myself to that, and just limit myself to like 1 at a time. So let's go ahead and get into what I purchased in January real quick, just because a couple of these that you have already seen. For instance, My Lovely Wife. I believe I got this from Pango, so I didn't think it was too bad, considering like I get credit for, I mean, essentially I get money back for selling the books that I do get rid of, and was able to purchase My Lovely Wife. And so this was my first book that I read for the year. It's in my January wrap up if you want to know my thoughts about it. Basically follows a man who is married, and they decide to spice up their marriage by killing women. So, and then things get fucked. Another one that I was actually surprised to find on Pango, and I really enjoy the fact that I did. And I know that I'm not going to get rid of these, because these 2 in particular, I read via audiobook first and then bought the physical book, which is, I like doing that. My Lovely Wife through my library, through Libby, and then this one, Venomous, by Christy Cox through Libro. So essentially I bought it twice, but this one, like I said, I found on Pango, so it was for like way cheaper than I could have found it in person, looking at the price. So this one is How Earth's Deadliest Creatures Mastered Biochemistry. It's very much like A Taste for Poison, which is another nonfiction that goes over the chemistry of how poisons affect our bodies and in what ways. This is fairly similar in that it talks about venom, and how venom is, when it enters our bodies, the chemistry and how it ends up affecting our bodies in various ways, as well as the animals that tend to be attached to these venoms. So I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was really fun. Like I said, it's in my January wrap up if you want to hear more. Okay, now some books that I haven't gotten to. So my January book pick for book of the month was in fact Hellbent. Yeah. Pretty self-explanatory. I am very much interested. This cover is absolutely gorgeous. I enjoy this. I did read Ninth House last year. I didn't mind it, though I am excited to see some of the responses in terms of this book, particularly Jan from Jan Agaton. Said that this was she enjoyed this one more than the first one, so I'm very much interested. It's just the size that's intimidating me. But yeah, really enjoying these covers. So yeah, that's my January pick. And then I did end up going to my local bookstore once, got a bookmark, and found this, and it's one that I had saw there before. Didn't get it because it's a nonfiction, and man, nonfictions can really break the bank, really. So I only got this one. And the fact that it was still there, and I was worried about not seeing it again, because in fact it was there and then it wasn't there and then it was there over the last time I went, and I snatched it up. And that is Salmon Wars, The Dark Underbelly of Our Favorite Fish by Douglas France and Catherine Collins. When I saw this name, I immediately thought of the Salmon Wars here on the Pacific Northwest, but I believe this is actually having to do with farmed Atlantic salmon. So from what I understand from the synopsis, but I don't know if it does all of them or what the deal is. So ultimately it intrigued me, and I love this cover. And if you look closely, I did not put those watermarks there. That is part of the cover. I absolutely love this. So yeah, that's one I'm hoping to get to at some point. And ultimately it's just a curiosity of mine of like wanting to know, like, what are you doing? Who are you? Why are you doing this? So yeah, and I'm just in general just interested. So okay, that was my January haul. Did pretty good. $4, not bad. 2 of them from Pango, so they're relatively cheap. And book of the month I don't tend to count, even though it's $14.99 a month. I do have a link down below if you do ever want to check them out. I think I have a link below. Okay, February, a little more, but still not bad. I ended up getting Watch Over Me from Pango. This I had been looking at for a while and just wasn't sure, but I keep hearing from Kayla from BooksandLala that it's really good, that people should read it. I've been hearing from other folks too that people should read it, so I don't really know what it's about, actually. That's really cool, actually. So I just saw the inner. That's cool. I like it. So yeah, we'll have to see about this. I'm sure I read the synopsis before I actually bought it, but like I said, I found it on Pango. This was actually not the one I had originally planned on spending money on Pango. I had ordered 2 different books before this one, and neither one of them sent within 10 days, and so I just canceled them both. And then I'll talk about my book of the month reads with their clever bookmarks of the month. I used to just throw them out because I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but now I'm realizing I can't find any of my bookmarks, so I'm just like trying to put them all in one pile. So this is my February pick, and that is The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. This is the Literally Dead book club pick for April, so I was pretty excited to see that it was on here. From what I understand, it's a thriller horror about a writer's retreat that like starts doing some sketchy shit as our main character is trying to complete a novel. There's some strange happenings on the estate that they're staying at, and some cruel mind games, and apparently a haunted mansion. So I've been strangely really into haunted houses lately, so I'm pretty intrigued by this. I wasn't sure about it at first, but I also, another cover I absolutely love, so yeah. I also got a bonus book from the February box, and that was really good, actually, by Monica Hesse. First off, this cover, it's really fun and whimsy. Otherwise, a hilariously and painful relatable debut novel about one woman's messy search for joy and meaning in the wake of an unexpected breakup, from comedian, essayist, and award-winning screenwriter Monica Hesse. Maggie is fine. She's really doing good. Actually, sure, she's broke, and her graduate thesis on something obscure is going nowhere, and her marriage only lasted 608 days. But at the ripe old age of 29, Maggie is determined to embrace her new life as a surprisingly young divorcee. I feel like this is going to be like pretty interesting, actually. So yeah. Okay. Now onto some books that I ended up getting from my trip up to Oregon. I guess, I don't know, it feels like I have to explain why I went to on vacation in Oregon. Mostly, like, even my bank, when I told them, like, you know, hey, just a heads up, I'm like going up to Oregon for vacation, and they like looked at me going, oh, where? And when I told them, they were like, oh, do you have family there? And I'm like, no, I don't, we're just visiting. And they're like, oh, okay. I don't know why. My partner and I absolutely love Oregon, so we went to Lincoln City, which is a small-ish touristy town in central northern Oregon. We absolutely love it there. We use it as like a central hub, and then travel, just kind of explore the coast really. So we went up to Tillamook and went to the coast from there and got some agates. We also went down to Newport, explored that area. We had a lot of fun. So yeah, and in Lincoln City itself, I ended up finding a small bookstore. I'll link it down below if it has a website. Otherwise, I'll just let you know the name too, mostly because right now I can't think of what the name is. My apologies. But it was really cute. It was like an overstuffed bookstore, but it was overstuffed in the cutest way because it also not only sells new books, but it sells used books as well. And they had books facing out with little cards in it going, we dig this title. And I'm like, I really like that. It was just a little, like, most bookstores that I've seen have them on like a table going, oh, it's like a staff pick 20% discount or whatever. But this one, they just had them sporadically throughout the store, and I really enjoyed it. And they had witchy stuff, which I really enjoyed, and just like kind of darker things. So they had, I almost bought these, but like realized I didn't really have any place to put them. They had bookends that were ravens, and I really wish I would have just got them because I would have found a place for them. But also like these bat garlands made out of wood. So yeah, I could have spent so much money there. But what I did end up getting, I thought was very fitting for for our visit, and I was really enjoying it. So the first book that I picked up was Recipes from the World of Tolkien, inspired by the legends, by Robert Tousley Anderson. So this is very much a cookbook, and with wonderful, wonderful illustrations in it. I am realizing, so right before we left, we ended up rewatching the Hobbit movies, and which I have reviewed on this channel along with the Hobbit book. I love both the book as well as the movies. I didn't read the movies or watch the movies for the longest time because as soon as I found out they were going to be a trilogy, it just made no sense to me. But I fell in love with them. I absolutely love it. So this cookbook is actually just based on Tolkien's universe in general, and I just love how even in the contents it's so cute because it goes breakfast, second breakfast, 11s, luncheon, afternoon tea, dinner, and then to drink. So I thought it was super cute, and it has illustrations throughout this, and I thought it would just be a fun, like, just a fun homage, just because Lincoln City we used as more of like a Grubhub sort of deal. And I don't mean to like, I'm not sponsored by Grubhub, but like literally anytime we ate in Lincoln City. There was like 1 or 2 times that we ate outside it, but for the week we stayed there, Lincoln City is where we ate. A lot of the places have good food, and so that's what I felt like I was doing, was just finding new. And it's always fun going to even just like a state north, like because they're such next to such a big port when it comes to seafood. That was all essentially all that we had. We did have other stuff obviously, but I love food on vacation, finding things different, finding amenities, and just different restaurants that are different from what we have here locally, mostly because what we have locally is so depressing. So this was really a really fun pick that I saw. Next, I ended up finding Coast Range, a collection from the Pacific Edge. This is a collection of essays by Nick Neely. coast, the edge of land, or conversely the edge of sea, range and measure between limits or the scope or territory of a thing. Coast Range, the debut collection of essays from writer Nick Neely, meticulously and thoughtfully dwells on these intersections and much more. The book's title refers to the region in which these essays are set, the California and Oregon coastal ranges, and deeply moving prose and equal parts exhilarating and pensive. Each essay explores an iconic organism, a few geologic, so that on the whole the collection becomes a curiosity cabinet that freshly embodies the Pacific Northwest landscape. This is very much intuitive of our vacation, because we ended up taking 199 at I-5 and absolutely loved it. The mountain ranges in Oregon feel so much different than here in Northern California, and it was just really fun to spot the differences and see similarities. So I thought this was absolutely perfect. And then finally, I wanted something fictional. And so I kind of just found this, and that's one thing I had really enjoyed, was that there was a lot of books that I saw that were familiar to me because I've seen them on booktubers channels. They are becoming popular, but then there were some that were like facing out that I hadn't heard of before, and they were still sounded very intriguing to me. And one of those was Small Town Big Magic, which does that name not like Lincoln City is small-ish. I mean, it's pretty small comparatively to, like, you know, others, I feel like. And so I feel like this was very much an embodiment of our trip as well. This one, there's no such thing as witches, right? Emerson Wilde has built the life of her dreams. Youngest Chamber of Commerce president in St. Cyprian history, successful indie bookstore owner, and lucky enough to have her best friends as her found family. Done. But when Emerson is attacked by creatures that shouldn't be real and kills them with what can only be called magic, Emerson finds that the past decade of her life has been a lie. St. Cyprian isn't your average Midwestern river town. It's a haven for witches. When Emerson failed a power test years ago, she was stripped of her magical memories. Turns out Emerson's friends are all witches, and so is she. So I thought this was really totally fun. Like I said, this bookstore was witchy in and of itself, so it felt really reminiscent of this book, really, to grab it, just to have that memory. So yeah, that was that. That's the books that I got up in Oregon. I do want to say too that we have been snacking on wild huckleberry licorice since we found them in Newport. I actually had gone to Grants Pass years ago and found huckleberry licorice there and have been obsessed ever since. But I only get them when we go to Oregon. It seems it's a good excuse to go up to Oregon. I don't understand why we don't have them in Northern California, because we have a bunch of wild huckleberries here as well. But this licorice is particularly delightful. We bought like 3 bags. We also bought a bunch of taffy that's also wild huckleberry. So good, just so good. And as well as some blueberry wine. And like I said, we went up to Tillamook and we went to the creamery. I'm actually lactose intolerant, so it's really funny to me that we went. And of course, like, my partner was like, come on, let's try some samples. I'm like, I'm not gonna enjoy it, because even despite being lactose intolerant, I do suffer the consequences occasionally, because a pint of regular dairy ice cream is way cheaper than a pint of alternate milk alternative milk ice cream. So there's some things I will suffer the consequences to, and what ultimately that we have found with me is that I like cheese so long as it doesn't taste like cheese. It needs enough garlic or sauce or some other thing to be able to counteract that it's just, I don't like the taste of plain cheese. So of course their samples were nothing but plain cheese. Their cafe was rather delicious though. So again, a bunch of cheese, but I had their roasted tomato soup. It was delightful. 2 things that I had really wanted from there was actually a t-shirt, which I didn't end up getting, and I regret it so much. Particularly because there was 2 in mind that I had really wanted to get. One was I came, I saw, I concurred. Little play on words there. I loved it. Didn't end up getting it mostly because I have a really hard time with t-shirts with letters on words on the front, because I found here in particular, being a pretty busty woman, that it's an excuse for everyone to look at my chest, and I don't want that excuse. So I didn't end up getting that one. Another one I was really wanting to get was like this baseball tee that was dark blue that has Tillamook written in its letters font across the chest, which whatever. It's not like a full-on sentence, okay? And it had it was like in a bright yellow font, and it had like yellow at the collar and yellow at stripes on the sleeve, and it looked fantastic. And I guess it was just like I was going back and forth on it just because it was at the Tillamook Creamery. It seemed expensive. $35 is a lot for a t-shirt. I just didn't end up going for it, and for some reason was thinking I can just get it online. No, I can't. So I'm a little mad at myself for that. But what I did end up getting, and I thought it was really fun because I have been looking at these for a while, it was cow socks. It's these little cow socks with like pink on the toes. I have, like I said, I've been looking at these for a while. I love crazy socks. It's something that I will get because more often than not, it's just a joke to myself of something that I'm wearing that typically no one else tends to see unless I specifically show it off. And at the library I work for during the summer, we have Crazy Sock Wednesdays where everyone brings in and wears their crazy socks. So it's always something that I'm looking for, and I did see these on Amazon, but I was so happy to find them at Tillamook, and that they are specifically like Tillamook branded, and that these particular ones are sustainable, fair trade, as well as like when are helping the FFA area of FFA within the area of Tillamook. So I thought it was really cool. So I just overall really enjoyed it. And then, of course, I needed to be a tourist. I needed a t-shirt from somewhere, and we weren't going to drive all the way up to Tillamook on our last day heading south. So we ended up stopping in Newport, and I wanted just like a kind of just touristy t-shirt, but not too touristy. So like there was a couple that we saw that was specifically like Lincoln City or specifically Newport, and I didn't really want either of those. I ended up finding this. It has these cute I love the color first off, but it has this cute little mountain range and sun screen print, as well as the back has a fun print as well. Does it say just Oregon? It just says Oregon, which I was perfectly fine with. So there's that little vacation haul for you. And then finally, my last little bit of my book haul is when I got home, I had ordered some stuff on bookshop.org, and they came while I was on vacation, and I didn't realize that until I got to work. I was like, where are those? Those should be here by now. And it just turns out that someone put them in a place where I just didn't see it right away. But that is these books. The first one is was a pre-order, and that is The Spite House by Johnny Compton. This is another haunted house horror that is actually for literally the book club pick for March, which I'm excited about. I didn't expect this to be hardcover or this short, so I'm pretty excited about it. Like it's on my March TBR because I just want to be I want to participate in literally the book club more. So, and I'm finding that I'm liking some haunted house stories right now, so I'm just gonna go for it. This one in particular is set in Texas, and it's following Eric Ross, who is on the run from a mysterious past with his 2 daughters in tow. They come across a strange ad for the Masson house in Texas. Eric thinks that they finally caught a lucky break, and it's the most haunted place in Texas. Needs a caretaker. All they need to do is stay in the house and keep detailed records of everything that happens there, provided the house's horrors don't drive them all mad like the caretakers before them. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. It's giving me I don't know if it is for anybody else, but it's very much giving me Casper with Christina Ricci vibes. Like maybe a little scarier, maybe not so friendly ghosty. So I don't know. I'm excited for it though. And then After reading Ghost Song by Anne Yu in January, I was very much interested in trying to find a mushroom cookbook. Mushrooms are another thing that I'm not the biggest fan of, mostly because they tend to just be chewy and slimy, and they just taste like dirt. But I'm finding, what I am finding though is that that's basically because all that they sell at Safeway or any of the local grocery stores is cremini mushrooms, or very small, it's like the very beginnings of a portobello mushroom. They're all the same. And I want to widen my variety. Mushroom hunting or gathering has been, I don't know, I guess mushroom gathering, but I've heard it mushroom hunters. So I've been wanting to gather mushrooms for a while. It seems to be one of those things where you have to be friends with a particular, with someone who knows what they're doing as well as knows where to find them. It's very much like trying to fish, and that you need to know someone. There's like a society. But I'm very much interested in it. So I ended up purchasing this, which I thought was really cute, but I'm a little disappointed with how, because it's not what I expected. This is Mushroom Cookbook, Fantastic Guide to Cooking with Mushrooms for Whole Body Health. And the reason why I was a little disappointed is, one, I thought it was going to be a full-on cookbook. So like one bigger than this is small, way smaller than I expected. I expected it to be bigger. I love this cover. However, looking into it, there's like maybe occasionally, I'm not seeing any recipes in here. It's more of, I would just say, it says guild, but I feel like it should say guide. Fantastic guide to cooking with mushrooms for whole body health. There's no recipes in here. So is that really a cookbook? I don't understand. So I'm still going to read it. It's just now going to go on this shelf, which instead of my kitchen shelf where all my cookbooks are going, which is kind of depressing to me. I'm still hoping to look into them. More cookbooks about mushrooms. But this I think would be a good like little first thing. And it also looks like it's possibly like self-published, which is fine. It's just not what I expected. So, and then finally, my last book for this haul is The Little Ghost Who Was a Quilt by Real Nathan, illustrated by Byron Eggenschweiler. Sorry. And basically, it is, we are following a ghost who is a quilt instead of a sheet. So when he flies, he gets hot. So I think it's going to be cute. This is also on my March TBR. So hopefully you'll hear more thoughts about more of my thoughts about that soon. Otherwise, yeah, that's it. That's it for my haul for January and March. I'm hoping that I don't have to do another one for at least another 2 months as well. We'll see about that, because I'm finding I have, like I said, there are moments where I definitely would like to purchase, and particularly after going up to Oregon, there was so many books that I just took a picture of that I was like, that would work, that I would love to read this, and I just didn't buy them because we were on a budget. So yeah, that's my book haul. If you read any of these, please let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. Please no spoilers. Otherwise, if you've been to Oregon, let me know your favorite spot in Oregon to go. I'm just curious. I don't think we're going to go for a little bit, even though it's like right there. Just because, I mean, it took us 5 years to go since the last time we went. But I think my partner and I are making a deal of just like, we tend to travel for our anniversary, and it was really cold. Like it was snowing, and we told ourselves that next year we would go somewhere warmer. So yeah, I'm just curious though, where's your favorite spot in Oregon? Your answer can't be Portland. I've heard great things about Portland. I have yet to actually go explore there. I've only been through there, so let me know. I'm sure Portland's great, but I keep hearing good things. But let me know your other spots. Otherwise, if you've made it this far, be sure to let's go ahead and put a ghost. Why not? There was a lot of like little haunted horror things that I ended up getting in this one. Plus, I'm looking at the little ghost who was a quilt right now. So let's put a ghost. Be sure to like this video, subscribe if you have yet to do so, and I hope that you are in the mental mindset to enjoy your reading. I will see you in another video very soon. Cheers.